Hey, Pretty Girl Club. So, this is another example of what I call femcel rage. So, I talk on this channel a lot about how women who are pick me's who never got picked, they have this resentment and this anger, not just towards the men that didn't pick them, but also towards the women that they feel are more privileged than them. But this is an example of femcel rage. This woman, she titled her video, I just want to lock lips with someone's son.
I want to lips. I want to lips. I just want to lips. I want to lips someone's son. That's all I want.
Okay, so she was saying she wants to lips someone's son. That's like slang for saying she just wants to make out with somebody's son. So a lot of women who have this resentment towards you, these women are very like sexually frustrated. They're women who they really, really want a man. They live, breathe, and die based on romantic love. And for some women, they really will get jealous of your desirability. So much so to the point where they actually came up with a term called desirability politics. They're trying to bring beauty into politics and they're trying to come up with these hyper intellectualized terms to basically describe who's ugly in the eyes of men and who's not. But let's look at these comments. Someone said, get a diary or something. I don't know. Someone else said, gather some decorum right now. This comment section puts the B in bad vibes. Someone else said, it's okay, babe, I understand. So you've got some sympathizers in her comment section. Someone said, why are you telling me for? Breathe, sister. Someone else says, they're cooking you, sister, but I hear you. In this life, not every thought should be broadcasted. Sorry, bro. Sigh, composure. Just need a hug, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of these women are very touch starved. I talked about this with incel men, how they are touch starved and validation starved. And so this is what causes a lot of men to become like predators and stuff. And unfortunately, I have seen some predatorial behavior with some unambiguous black women with white men. Remember the Fanita video? I don't remember if it was Blunt Girly that also did a video about this as well. But even Fanita was seen on TikTok basically like forcing herself upon this white man because you could tell that she was so touch starved and so validation starved to the point where she just couldn't keep her hands off of that white guy and he clearly felt uncomfortable. This is where this type of behavior begins. It all starts when a woman feels overlooked for so many years. She feels so touch starved. She's never been kissed. Like she's basically just a pick me that really wanted to get picked, but she never did get picked by anyone. And so she's defining her life around the male gaze. Usually, these women are extremely male centered. You have to be male centered in order to even be a femcel. But somebody said, just a common hug is proving difficult. Someone else said, I will never be desperate like that. Yeah, this is a form of extreme desperation. I mean, how desperate do you have to be to go on the internet and literally scream at the top of your lungs about how you desperately just want to make out with someone's son? Usually, if people do stuff like this, it's because they're hoping that men will come into their comment section and be like, hey, baby, like I'll meet up with you. Usually, that's the level of desperation you have to hit in order to make content like this. This is a common tactic that a lot of women with inferiority complexes use. It's called empathy baiting. So it's very similar to rage baiting, but they're like empathy baiting and pity baiting. This is a very common thing when it comes to people in the black community who have inferiority complexes. I've seen a lot of black men do this. I'm just another black man caught up in the mix, trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. The government took black men out of the home. So they're trying to bait you with pity. This woman is doing the exact same thing. She's screaming at the top of her lungs about how she desperately just wants to make out with someone because she's hoping that maybe some men will come in and give her some pity attention. Or same thing with women. Remember all those unambiguous women that were making videos like, "Oh, I'm so ugly. Oh, I hate my 4C hair." That's another way of pity baiting or empathy baiting. They're trying to attract compliments by getting you to feel sorry for them. So this woman, she is subconsciously doing the same thing. She's shouting at the top of her lungs about how she just wants to kiss someone. But you also have to be careful around these types of women too, because if you are a pretty privileged woman, and even if you're decentered from men, if you get the male gaze, unfortunately, these types of women can end up being very jealous. They can end up being very obsessed with your sex life. They can end up kind of living vicariously through your sex life or kind of examining and nitpicking what they would do if they were you. Have you ever noticed that? Look at all the colorism content creators here on YouTube. Look at how much they obsess over pretty privileged women's sex lives and who they're having babies with and stuff. And then they'll have this mindset of, well, if I looked like you, I would have done this. Well, if I looked like you, I would have done that. That's a way of living vicariously through you. She is fantasizing about what it would be like to be you, to be able to kiss a rapper, to be able to get hit on or have a baby by a certain type of man, or to be able to swirl or whatever that is. All of this is really based on limerence. This woman in this video suffers from limerence. She has spent too much time fantasizing about what it would be like to have a romantic relationship with whatever her type is. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, if you're going to be male centered, at least do it right. If you have a type, at least think about whether or not you are your type's type. Okay, so if your type is a guy that's in shape, you can at least try to get in shape. Like I know that this woman, I'm looking at her right now, her shoulders do look a little bit big. I'm just saying, usually it's women that have a certain body type. I'm not saying anything about her phenotype, but in terms of her body type and the way she's dressing, if you're overweight and you have big shoulders, wearing a turtleneck is actually the worst type of top that you can wear for your body shape. So instead of her screaming on TikTok about how she just wants to kiss somebody or just wants to make out with somebody, if she were really that male centered, she actually would have just been better off maybe trying to lose some weight or increase her pretty privilege or learn how to dress for her body type. Those are very simple methods that you can use just like anyone else. Shouting on social media is not going to get you the hypergamous swirling romantic relationship of your dreams. Just saying. Anyway, what do you ladies think? Have you ever been the victim of femcel rage? Do you have any friends or family members who are femcels? Like, did your mother get abandoned by your father or something like that? Or did you have a femcel family member who was jealous of you as a teenager, or they assumed that you were a hoe because you're pretty? I feel like sometimes these types of women, they're the type that will assume that you're a whore because they would be a whore if they could. Like, if they looked like you, they would be a whore. So they assume that that's what you are. What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.